Hello, and welcome to another episode of Did You Know on Rare Collectibles TV. I'm your host, Kim Tomaska. On our first episode, I took you on a journey through American coinage history as we uncovered what is known to be the inspiration behind some of the great works of Augustus Saint-Gaudens. His depiction of victory gracing the obverse of the $20 gold double eagle was inspired by none other than the Nike of Samothrace, originally pronounced Samothrace. This masterpiece, which is held in the highest esteem by the greatest authorities and critics of the art community, now sits in her most prominent position atop the grand staircase in the French Louvre Museum. And so today, we will take an even closer look into fascinating historic archives, uncovering more about the discovery and the excavation of the Nike of Samothrace. One can only imagine what it was like to discover and reassemble the Nike, and on April 15, 1863, Charles Champoisseau and his team of archaeologists began just that. They were excavating the ancient site of the Sanctuary of the Great Gods, located on the northeastern side of the island of Samothrace, among the Aegean Sea. On this day, they came across large pieces of a female statue. As they continued to dig, they uncovered pieces of the goddess of victory, later known as the Nike of Samothrace. The Sanctuary of the Great Gods on the island of Samothrace consists of 20 different architectural structures, including the Fountain of Nike. Yes, that's right, it was originally a fountain. The goddess was placed at the highest, most remote part of the sanctuary at the south end in a partial building that consisted of 3 walls, a foundation, and quite possibly a roof, given the excellent preservation of the statue. The sculpture was placed at a slight angle, 3/4 to the left, in order to see the Nike from her most appealing view. Champoisseau and his team of excavators inevitably sent the artifact fragments to the Louvre in France as they had initially planned. By 1866, the torso and lower body of the Nike had been assembled, restored, and put on display at the famed French Museum. In our previous Nike segments, I shared with you some remarkable details about the artistry and architecture of Nike herself. However, I did leave one stone unturned, and that was the remarkable base of the Nike depicting the prow of a majestic battleship. By 1875, an Austrian archaeologist had discovered that the large marble blocks found by the remains of the Nike were actually part of the base of the statue. These pieces depicted the prow of a ship similar to that of the images one would see on ancient Greek coinage. Champoisseau then had the additional pieces of the marble statue sent to the Louvre, where they too were reconstructed. This sculpture included intricate details of ore boxes carved into the marble. This was representative of the newer technology of the time that allowed for large flank oars, which enabled the ship's crew to produce more power during a sea battle. The ram was the greatest weapon known on ships of that time. Unfortunately, this portion of the base was not found. The entire monument was held together using engineering innovations that were undoubtedly ahead of their time. The wings of the goddess were secured using a system of cantilevers in the form of carved reinforcements that would slide into grooves at the back of the statue. And this means that the weight distribution and wing design had to be such that most of the weight was borne by the body. The base of the design was comprised of large marble blocks secured together with metal reinforcement pins, and the statue itself was slotted into a cavity upon the base. Securing the pieces of this massive structure together was a tremendous production. In order to properly balance and counterbalance the base and the statue, the engineers of this great work of art had to be highly skilled in geometry and physics. Although neither the head nor the arms were recovered, the glorious Nike, with its now light yellow patina, stands at the top of the Louvre's Grand Daru staircase as a symbol not only of ancient history, not only of ingenious artisanship, but of victory and of hope. And now here we are, over 100 years after the first Saint-Gaudens double eagle was struck, still blessed by the vision of Teddy Roosevelt and the brilliant artistry of Saint-Gaudens, with a coin that perhaps more than any other coin struck in the history of our planet, inspires and elevates the human spirit like no other coin, reaching and being shared by more people today than when first struck. And we on Rick's U.S. Coin Show are quite certain that everything this coin represented when it was first struck in 1907, it represents today, now more than ever, and will continue to represent 1,000 years from now. Thank you for joining me again to explore what is known as the greatest piece of Hellenistic sculpture, the Nike of Samothrace, and the classic numismatic masterpiece and rarity that she inspired, the Saint-Gaudens Gold Double Eagle. I'm your host, Kim Tomaska, and I will see you again next time.